What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for tuning in. It's me, Mikey Pipes. It is Monday, July 6, 2026. It is 3:46 in the afternoon here in the great state of New York. And guess what? Another day and another HVAC price increase email that went into my inbox just a few hours ago. But first, I got to tell you about the morning that I had. Putting out fires from angry clients, working in the rain, replacing a heat exchanger on a Jandy pool heater, and of course, the two hot service igniters that the homeowner had ordered for me to put in. Of course, both of them were cracked brand new out of the box. And then slowly trying to capture the maintenance agreement clients set up for recurring charges on a monthly basis, migrating from one payment processor to House Coil Pro so that everyone could be in the same billing platform. But this email titled July HVAC Price Increase List. Wow, beautiful, absolutely beautiful headline. You know, I guess because apparently HVAC equipment, materials, controls, motors, ductwork, fittings, everything in the industry just needs to be kept getting, is this thing on? Yes. More and more expensive. So let me give you some examples. We have Duravent up 7%. Let me open that up. Let me open this up, folks. We have All Style Coil Company, 3.5% price increase. Diversitech, varies by item, effective 5 days ago. Duravent, 7%. JB Industries, they do brass access valves, cap tubing, fittings. 7.5% increase on that, and a 10% price increase on vacuum pump oil. All right, so if you got a JB Industries vacuum pump and you buy their oil, you're going to see a 10% price increase when you go to the supply house and go buy some more. All right, Jones Stevens, 3 to 10%. Johns Mansville, 6 to 8. Aspen Manufacturing, 5 to 6. Here we go. Fujitsu, 7%. You know, I used to be a huge fan of Fujitsu until they started with these rebate programs to try to make it more enticing. Like, was it Wall to Bucks or whatever it was that they started promoting through Johnstone 2 months ago. Meanwhile, they're 47% higher than ACiQ that I can buy, and it's almost identical. But folks, the list keeps going on and on and on. You see that, right? Keeps going on and on and on and on. Now listen. I understand that manufacturers have costs. Raw materials go up. Transportation goes up. Labor goes up. Insurance goes up. Everything goes up. I get it. I'm still dealing with, I got my business owner's policy set for the renewal that wasn't being renewed with Travelers anymore. So now I'm working with Byberk. You know, by Berkshire Hathaway. I'm not too happy, but then again, it's insurance, and you need to have insurance. But I am working with a writer, a insurance agent in upstate New York that is telling me that he can get me with merchants, but I got to drop New York City as a service territory for what we offer. Right? So I have to give up New York City. It only accounts for maybe 10% of our gross revenue, maybe 15%. I'd have to go through all the numbers, but it seems like almost every other day we're just getting bombarded with more and more price increases. And listen, I own a plumbing, heating, and air conditioning contracting company. Trust me, I understand raising and continuously rising operational costs. But there comes a point where a contractor literally has to sit down and ask a very important question. Can I continue selling this equipment to my customers and honestly tell them that they're getting a good value? Seriously. Can I continue selling this equipment to my customers and still honestly tell them that you're getting a good value? And that is the question that I asked myself at Pipe Doctor about a year ago, a little over a year ago. You know, for several years, Bosch was our preferred HVAC brand, for tankless combis to heat pump HVAC equipment. And I really like the product. I think it's cool. I think it has the technology. And we installed a lot of them. Now, a lot of you guys have been waiting for me to have this conversation, right? Well, Mikey Pipes, it's all about what's the best, you change your brands like you change underwear. Not really, folks. I was with another company before Bosch for many, many, many years. And if you guys know, I was a huge fan of that particular product. And I said time and time again, if it's installed properly and maintained properly, it will last. Well, that held true for so long, and we're going to leave it at that, right? And then I reached out to a few different manufacturers. I reached out to Lochinvar, I reached out to Viessmann, and I reached out to Bosch. And Mike Knapp, the sales rep, the former sales rep at Wallace Ennis, reached out to me from Lochinvar. And listen, we had 4 installs and 2 heat exchanger leaks brand new out of the box. That's no bueno. That's a 50% failure rate. And we're not talking about like, oh, Mikey Pipes, you sabotage. No, we had the weld seam joint on the heat exchanger leaking water. Brand new, right? And another one, we had a dead circulator out of the box. And with Bosch, we had a very, very, very good running with Bosch. And it was our preferred HVAC brand. I liked the product. We installed a lot of it. I knew the product. Daniel knew the product. We were comfortable with it. We had parts kits for them. And I'm not saying that their systems were without problems. We ran into a few problems, but let me tell you what happened inside my company, that the numbers stopped making sense, right? So as a business owner, I have responsibility to my clients, my team, and my company, right? And I'm not going to keep buying something just because I've always bought it, right? That's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. But when I saw that the pricing for their equipment just went sky high through the roof, I was like, I no longer saw the value in that. And I am a big fan of the perception of value. That was instilled upon me many, many, many years ago by my earlier mentors in my career, and in the continuing educating classes that I took at Dale Carnegie and with Clockwork Home Services when I was on a team where we were a franchisee of 1 Hour Heating and Air many, many years ago, 24 years ago. I'm a big proponent of the perception of value, right? And when you give that to your clients, you know with confidence that you've done your job. And I think I've mentioned this story before. I'm just trying to move that around right there. I think I've mentioned this story before. It was January 2025. I'm literally in St. Thomas for our almost 2-week holiday, just drinking all day, sitting in the sun, and going into the pool every 5 minutes to cool off. And I got an email from Bethany at ACiQ, wanting to do a collaboration together. And I told them that, listen, I'm in an agreement right now with Bosch, which is expiring at the end of the month. But listen, I have no problem taking a look at your equipment, but I'll say this, and this rings so true. You can have the best thing since sliced bread, right? But if you don't have support after the sale, it's garbage. You might as well be full of mold and throw it in the garbage, right? So you can have the best thing, the best invention. You can have an iPhone 10 million, right? But if Apple doesn't pick up the phone, the product is garbage, right? If I drop it on the floor and the screen cracks and I can't get a new screen, I gotta get a new phone. Okay, it's disposable. So I told Bethany, later Penny, and Tyler at ACiQ, like, listen, this is all fine and dandy, but if you want me to try out your equipment, I need to have assurances that if something goes wrong and I need a part, that it's available to me either that day or the next day. And they're like, Mikey Pipes, we got you. We got you. And I had no idea at the time. This is end of January, early February 2025. They sent me an Extreme 2-ton split system, right? So we have the outdoor side discharge unit, not the Extreme Plus, like the ones I install all the time now, and the indoor air handler. And we installed it by taking out a furnace. 110 volt horizontal furnace, 90 plus percenter. It was a it was a Bryant Pulse. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And an attic thing was leaking like crazy. There's bubblegum and duct tape, literally bubblegum and duct tape holding this furnace together. The collection trays, this, that, and the third. And we gave him a very good price for the install. ACiQ paid me very little to install it, but on top of the price that we gave the homeowner, we still kind of I was doing it more for the content. Seriously, right? Didn't make, a gazillion dollars on the install, but we tried it out and it worked out great, right? But if you told me then, fast forward, a year and a half, then I would be the ambassador for ACiQ and have, over the last year and change, almost over 200 dealers have signed up watching my videos. I would have thought you're effing nuts. Like, there's no way. But I got to tell you, forget about the value that I give my clients for installing high-performance, high-efficiency equipment. This brand and being able to offer a good, better, best, I believe just one. You know what? My clients don't need options, good, better, best. You're either getting this or call someone else, right? Standardization of my installs. And it's such an amazing price point where if they can't afford the cheap builder's grade system and get a ACiQ, Mikey Pipes powered by ACiQ system, well, I don't know, you shouldn't be owning a home. I'm just keeping it real, right? But that decision to install that equipment from ACiQ really changed the way my company installs HVAC systems. Now, we still do it the same precision and efficiency and speed and getting it done before lunch. But it's just the way we operate, But primarily because we decided to standardize the way we do our installations, right? If you install just one product, now there's multiple different sizes. You have 1.5 to 5 ton, right? And half sizes in between here and there. But at the end of the day, it's the same controls, the same equipment, the same thermostat, communicating 2-wire or 24 volt, whatever you want to use. And it has really, really, really done great things for my company. Even though we were short basically one team member last year, we almost were at the same numbers from the year before. And that's without having that third truck, on the road when the other Mike had to retire and leave. But we're talking about another email from the ACHR News Magazine, right? Another email, another price increase. Let me tell you what I haven't gotten from ACiQ, besides agita or dealing with nonsense. I have never gotten a price increase. And matter of fact, the same pricing that I received in May of 2025 is still the same pricing that I paid today. And I can tell you this right now, folks, that every single dealer, right, that has been with ACiQ from since then has not seen a price increase either. Isn't that crazy? Now you may think, oh, Mikey Pipes, you're just installing rebranded Chinese junk. Come on, folks. Where does Bosch make their equipment? Right? Where does Carrier make their side discharge equipment? Where do they make it, folks? Medea. Why would I want to advertise another company's equipment in my client's home? Right? Why would I pay a premium, or why would I want to pay a premium for their equipment? Why would I want to pay for the middlemen along the way when I can buy direct? Why? So could someone please tell me why? What benefit do I have for installing a Bosch, a Carrier, a Train in a client's home when I can install a private label product ready out of the box and start building my own brand, which I would have been doing for the last year and a half? I'm going to keep it real, not year and a half, more like a year. Right? More like a year. But you may be worried about parts availability. And this is one of the things that fellow HVAC contractors need to think about when choosing an equipment partner. All right. Everyone loves talking about, everyone's talking about SEER ratings. Everyone likes talking about efficiency numbers, fancy brochures, marketing, extended warranties. You know what the homeowner cares about when it's 95 degrees outside? Does the air conditioner work? That's it. And when something goes wrong, how quickly you can fix it. Let me give you an example. Okay? About 2 weeks ago, the video, I posted it, right? It was an hour and a half long video of an installation that we did of a 3-ton ACiQ Extreme Plus PAH with HPD model indoor and outdoor units. Right? It's almost 1 o'clock. We fire up. The outdoor unit is done. The indoor unit is done. A little bit of like condensate work and cleanup needs to get done. Other than that, we're ready to go to lunch. Fire up the system. And the error code on the indoor inverter module is telling us that indoor blower speed is out of control. I'm like, fudge. Right? Indoor fan speed is out of control. Indoor blower speed is out of control. Like, out of control. It's not even running. What are you talking about? Right? It's not even running. So now here it is. I installed an inverter system. And the inverter drive board for the blower motor, which is a DC motor, a tiny little DC motor like this. Tiny little thing, by the way. Tiny little blower motor, 3-ton unit, right? Not doing dick, right? Not doing nothing. So what do? I'm like, Daniel, we're going to go here. I'm going to type this in, right? No, go back. I go to my phone and I go to ACiQ, priority tech support. All right, I call that number. And Alexia picked up in about a minute and a half. Now, this is end of June, right? And you're calling a manufacturer of HVAC equipment tech support department. And someone picks up in about a minute and a half. Not bullshit. The video is up online. You can see it all, right? And at first, I'm keeping it real. Alexia, I met you, and I apologize in advance. I thought maybe she was like the call taker for tech support. I really did. I was like, there's no way this woman is going to help me fix this problem. But sure enough, she did. And she went step by step in the order of operations on diagnosing what was wrong. And I'm going to keep it real, I'm not going to say 45 minutes later, less than an hour later, so it's right before like 2 o'clock, the new board was installed. The whole brick module. We slid the whole thing out, put the new one in from the shop, easy peasy. I can guarantee you this, folks, if that was a Bosch IDS, Bova, whatever it is, air handler, I forgot what the model numbers are because we haven't installed them in a couple of years, right? That client would not be paying me that day for the job that we just completed because the job would have been complete because the system's dead out of the box. They wouldn't. And I'm going to give you another example, folks, on how, right, being partnered with the right HVAC manufacturer means a lot. Here's a perfect example. If you guys have been watching my videos for quite some time, you're going to know this scenario. I have a client that has 6 central air conditioning systems in their home. About 7 years ago, we started a phase-out plan on replacing a system a year. And that year was one of the last years we actually installed Carrier. So he got a 17-SEER 2-stage Carrier system, right? I did not give him the communicating thermostat because he wanted his Ecobee. He's a nice guy, right? And I take care of his office as well. But it was the hardest one. And me and the other Mike, we got it done. We did it. I think even Godzilla was there too. The outdoor unit is huge. Huge wildebeest. Giant, big freaking outdoor condenser. 5 tons. Huge. And year after year, we replaced another system. But that was the last year that we installed Carrier. So moving forward, we put in Bosch. Well, last summer, beginning of last summer, he calls me that the kids zone, which is another like 4-ton system or 5, no, it was a 5-ton system, is not cooling. I go there, low in refrigerant. He's like, Mike, just gas and go. He watches my videos. Hi, Leon. He watches my videos, right? And I was like, gas and go. And about, I don't know, $1,500, $1,600 later, he's up and running. 2 days later, calls me up. Mike, it's not cooling again. I'm like, fudge. So I go out there. And sure enough, the evaporator coil is leaking. I'm like, damn. So I call Bosch. No, actually, I didn't call Bosch. I called Platsky. Platsky's a sales rep for Bosch. I said, Platsky, this is Mikey Pipes. I have a Bosch 5-ton IDS air handler that has an evaporator coil leak on it. I'm like, I need a new coil. He goes, you got to call tech support. Okay, call tech support. Give him the model number, the serial number, indoor, outdoor unit, pictures, and they approve the coil replacement, but the coil is not available to August. I'm like, what? What do you mean not available to August? The coil is not available to August. It's like, what do I tell the customer? I'm like, well, no, not available to August. I was like, what, are you kidding me? Right? This is what they tell me. I'm like, this is nuts. So I said to the homeowner, the coil is not available to August. And this is what we're going to do. And I feel bad even mentioning this to you. I will give you the coil out of the 5-ton air handler we have in our warehouse that cools our warehouse, right? And if it was anyone else, I would not be doing this. But because I replaced all your air conditioning systems in your home, this is what we're going to do. And this is what it's going to cost you. And that's what we did. And then the next day, Platsky calls me back saying that, you could put in for a whole unit replacement because the coil's not available. I was like, now you tell me? Like, really? Now you tell me? This was May of last year, so May 2025. And we are just starting to install ACiQ systems at this point, right? As the brand, right? And we haven't done any ductless systems for them. And it gets better, folks. Mid-October 2025, Bosch finally issued the credit for, almost $5,000 for the air handler that they sent me that I had to buy for the warranty process, and that way they could send it back and get credit and blah, 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 blah. Right? So June, July, August, September, October. Took me 5 months to get paid, to get credited back from Bosch to Platsky to FW Webb for the air handler that I had to buy to make my client, our mutual client, whole again with their air conditioning system. Right? Because I'm not going to tell a guy no who's given me well north of 6 figures from multiple premium equipment brand installs as direct replacement. Not happening. Let me tell you something. Last year, on one of the hottest days of the year, right, I remember this very clearly because I actually had a wedding that night in Jersey. Right? And we were doing 2 3-ton ACiQ systems. Right? And if you guys remember, my warehouse was packed. Right? We were pumping out systems like there's no tomorrow. Now, this year, it's a little bit quieter, but I have inventory. I got 2, 3, and 4-ton systems in my warehouse. Okay? And we put in, on average, 1 a week. Thank God. Not complaining. And there was a leak in an evaporator coil in a 3-ton in the PAH. I called up Penny. I was like, Penny, I got an air handler with a coil leak, and it's 150 degrees in this attic. And this is what I want to do, because I need to make sure that this job gets done today because we're busy. Right? And she goes, do whatever you have to do, and you tell me what you need, and I'll overnight it to you. That's what happens when you partner with the right HVAC company. If you're an HVAC contractor licensed in the United States, we don't have a dealer in Hawaii or Alaska yet, but I think one day we will, right? Logistically, it's hard to get equipment to you, but if you're in Alaska or Hawaii right now watching this video and you're an HVAC contractor, hit me up directly, Mikey at ACiQ.com, my email address over there, and we will make something happen together. Trust me, because I want to have a dealer in Hawaii and in Alaska. We have dealers in all other 48 states. Right? But if you're an HVAC contractor licensed anywhere in the United States and you are tired of installing these other brands and advertising their brand, stop. Because you can be supporting American families, right, and an American company. Now, granted, it's not made in the United States. I'm calling a spade, right? But Kevin Brock, the owner of ACiQ, employs a little under 1,000 Americans in Ohio, Texas, Georgia, Oregon, and a few other states, right? And this guy always has a smile on his face because he wants to make a little bit of money so guys like me can make a lot of money. Like a lot. Like you can't even fit in the little screen that I have right there. So stop installing cheap builder's grade equipment when you can get high performance, high efficiency, communicating inverter driven systems that install just like ductless mini split systems. Right? Flares on both ends. No more need to braze. Folks, you don't need filter dryers. You don't need to deal with 7/8 line sets anymore because it's all 3/4 and 3/8. And the 3/8, guess what? Doesn't have to be insulated either. And it's a sleek, modern looking thing. And when you turn the system on and you bring the homeowner along the side of the home, backyard, wherever the outdoor unit is, elevated, mounted on a wall mount bracket or on a condenser pad, and you show them this thing, it's like, oh, and they see like, oh my God, it's on? I was like, yes. When you show them the app on their phone where they can control the thermostat, whether they're laying in bed or halfway across the world on vacation, and they can control the climate in their home and get notifications if something goes wrong, that is the power of ACiQ. Always creating innovative quality. People ask me what ACiQ stands for, and that's what it meant. That's what it means. I asked Kevin last weekend when I was in Ohio at his annual Horseshoe Festival, where he invites the whole state, basically. Thousands of people were there. Free food, free fireworks, free fun, free fishing, free cash tournaments, a car show. This guy believes in hardcore family values. He's a God-fearing man, and every single person who works with him absolutely loves this guy. This guy takes care of so many people and really is a true patriot and true American. Wish we could make equipment here in the United States, but I'm just gonna keep it real, man. Those Chinese, man, make phenomenal equipment, and when there's a problem, Kevin and his team, Steve, they step up to the plate and make sure that we're happy. And that's all I'm gonna say, folks. I didn't think this was gonna be 30 minutes, but I just wanted to talk about that because many people have been asking me about ACiQ, where it's made. It's made by Medea, folks. Majority of their inverter equipment is made by Medea. Also ICP, right, which is Carrier, right, the same Chinese factory where everything else is made. Just keeping it real. But if you're buying Rheem, Daikin, Goodman, right, just go to aciq.com/Mikey Pipes. Free information on how to become a dealer. There's no cost to become a dealer. And the more you buy, the cheaper prices you get. I am not going to exaggerate, but I purchase ACiQ Extreme Plus equipment, right, for a little bit less than I buy from Ferguson, Rude, Builder's Grade, SEER 2, 13.2, whatever, 14.2 SEER equipment, right? But my equipment is communicating. My own name is on the equipment when I'm done at the end of the day. It's a beautiful app to control the Wi-Fi thermostat. And I'm not really supposed to tell you this, but next year, Q1 2027, imagine you have a display monitor in your warehouse. If you're a multiple van operation or a chuck in a truck, I don't care. And there's an app. You have the ACiQ dealer app. Imagine getting a notification that Mrs. Jones on 123 Main Street may have a dirty filter because it's noticing the static pressure has increased, right? Or Mrs. Johnson, right, on whatever street, the emergency drain float switch is activated. The drain line is clogged, right? Imagine reaching out to the client before they know there's a problem, and that way you can activate that emergency response vehicle and schedule a service call and get it there and take care of that problem. That is how you deliver value. That is how you deliver exceptional service. And that is how you create memorable experiences where you build those relationships with your clients where they're only going to call you. I've been doing this for a while, and there's a lot more that I need to learn. And I think that together we will all make the trades great again. Thank you so much for watching. I kept enough of your time here, 33 minutes into this conversation. There's no cost or obligation, folks. This is not one big giant infomercial. I just wanted to talk to you about how the outlook on things and how we keep seeing price increases. It literally never ends, right? But what matters is how fast you can get your customer cooling again. That's what matters, right? The equipment is only part of the equation, right? But if you can help increase your bottom line and add another 4K, right? If you're an HVAC contractor, right? If you can make that 4K per install or better, right? And install a premium system and offer a maintenance plan, right? With 2 wellness checks a year. That's what my company does, right? We install an ACiQ equipment for $34 a month. We're going to guarantee the system for life. We're going to come out twice a year to do wellness checks. There's really no real cleaning of it because guess what? Every time the outdoor fan motor is done with a cooling or heating demand, the fan, that DC driven fan, runs in reverse and it cleans out the coil. I'm not saying it doesn't ever need to be cleaned, but that's the kind of technology, right, that ACiQ is working with because they're always creating innovative quality. Thank you for watching. Until next time, be well, God bless, stay safe, and let's keep on making that money without robbing the client.